Hi everybody, today I'm going to read Stinkalope Tex and the Rescue. This is the winter version of Stinkalope Tex. In a high river valley, far up north in the snow, there's a small lonely town where most people don't go. All the buildings are painted in colors so bright, when the sun hits that town, it's a beautiful sight. But what makes it unique, if you just look around, not a car, nor a truck, nor a bus can be found. The people of Snowflake, that's the name of this place, live their lives at a simple and leisurely pace. Now, one day when Miss Nellie was baking a pie, she heard a strange sound way up high in the sky. It sounded like danger, it sounded like trouble. She must get the word out to all on the double. She ran to the fire hall, rang the alarm, for it sounded like someone had come to some harm. A crash and a boom echoed through the small town, and the people all knew that a plane had gone down. "Get your sleds," they all cried, "and your dogs, go, go, go! It's the best way to search through the deep winter snow." Very soon all the dogs were hooked up to their leads, and they raced through the snow at incredible speeds. And those who remained, who were not on the sleds, gathered in the town square where they all shook their heads. For the search hadn't started till late in the day, and the clouds overhead were a very dark gray. One by one, all the dog teams gave up and turned back as the sky went from light gray to dark gray to black. But one sled stayed out. It was Miss Nellie Blaine, and she kept right on going in search of the plane. For her dogs were not only the biggest and best, they were also much smarter than all of the rest. But that didn't matter, the townspeople thought. In a storm such as this, she would surely get caught. So a meeting was called at the town's one saloon to come up with a plan and come up with it soon. The folks on the plane, they need help, that is true. But if Nellie is stuck, then she'll need some help too. So we must save them all. What's our primary goal? Should we call in the Mounties or get ski patrol? That would take too much time, for they're too far away, but we must think of something without a delay. Then the jangle of spurs could be heard on the stair, and everyone looked at the man standing there. He was dressed as a cowboy from his boots to his hat. "My name's Stinkalope Tex, and I think we should chat." Then he stomped his boots twice on the hard saloon floor, and they glowed just a bit. Then they glowed a lot more. "With my boots I can see through the worst winter storm, and I'll bring those folks back to this town to get warm." "Poppycock," came a voice from the side of the room. "If you go out alone, you'll go right to your doom." It was Miss Clara Brown, the town's oldest by far, and she slapped her hand down on the end of the bar. "I know more about all these mountains, bar none, so if you need a guide, which you do, I'm the one." "Why, she's right," said the townsfolk. "Now here's what to do. Get some dogs and a sled and some warm clothing, too." And so off went old Tex and the older Miss Brown, off to the dark night, off away from the town. The dogs did their jobs, and they pulled the sled fast, as the snow billowed round just like stars rushing past. But the Stomp and Glow boots pierced the gloom with their light, and the dogs raced along through the thickening night. Pretty soon the trail narrowed and got very steep. "By the ridge," Clara called, "where the snow's not so deep." As the dogs pushed their way through the deepening snow, Clara sat bolt upright, and she shouted out, "Whoa!" And the team stopped at once. Clara turned her head round. "I can't see worth a darn, but I do hear a sound. It's a terrible sound, and it gives me a shiver. It's the sound of a sled team that's stuck in the river." "Well, I can't hear a thing," declared Tex with dismay, "but I'm sure that I smell 'em. They're over that way." So the dogs took a turn, and they bounded ahead, and in no time at all, they had found Nellie's sled. It was jammed in the ice, and a runner was split, and her dogs had pulled half of it free, but that's it. "With a broken-down sled and the thickening snow, we'll all have to turn back," Nellie said, "so let's go." "Not a chance," declared Tex. "We still have to get through. Let's all think, and we'll figure out what we can do." In the next valley over, 9 people stood round by a wrecked smoking plane which had crashed to the ground. They were battered and bruised, but they all were alive. Now they'd have to find help or they wouldn't survive. Up and over the pass is our only way out. If we stay here, we'll freeze or get buried, no doubt. But we have no idea which way is east or is west. To stay here by the plane with its smoke might be best. So they faced a hard choice. Should they go? Should they stay? If they stayed, they might freeze. They should go, but which way? As they wondered aloud how much longer they'd last, someone said, "There's a light, and it's coming down fast." Sure enough, on the pass was a light shining bright, and it pierced through the snow and the cold, windy night. Soon the dog team pulled in with some hays and some hoots, with old Stinkalope Tex up in front with his boots. "We're sure glad that we found you tonight," Nellie said. "We've got plenty of dogs, but we've just got one sled. So we'll have to work fast, both the young and the old, and we'll make some more sleds before it gets too cold. Now pull off that tail and then parts of that wing, the nose cone, the windshield, the seats, anything. Whatever will slide on the snow we can use. Now let's get it done quickly. There's no time to lose." Back in Snowflake, the townsfolk were worried and tense. Who would ever survive in a snowstorm so dense? They all sat very still, and the clock ticked away. Then they heard in the distance a very faint, "Hey!" It was there, a soft hey through the wind that was whipping. Then came sounds of their dogs, and their barking and yipping. And they all raced outside to the freezing cold night, where they saw coming toward them a fabulous sight. It was one big long sled team sliding on down from the mountainous pass to the streets of the town. At the front there was Tex with his boots shining bright, with Miss Clara behind yelling left or go right. At the back was Miss Nellie driving the sled, calling out sharp commands to the dogs up ahead. In between were the passengers all in a chain, each one holding tight to a piece of the plane. They had done it. They'd rescued them, every last one, even when some folks thought that it couldn't be done. "Well, it took lots of teamwork," said Tex to the crowd, "and Nellie and Clara and I are so proud. These dogs are the finest in all of the land. Now everyone please, let's all give them a hand." And then everyone cheered, and each dog got a treat, and they all went inside to get warm and to eat. And that is the story of Stinkalope Tex and the Rescue. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.